Okay, it's officially been 1 year since we've been engaged. Here's everything that I've done for my wedding and what I would do differently. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Celesta. We talk about all things luxury shopping and handbags. If you love those things, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I do post videos every week. Okay, so we've already done quite a bit this year, but I want to emphasize that everybody's on their own pace. I feel like when my other friend was also planning her wedding and her wedding was a month before ours, I was seeing all the things that she's already done and I got very nervous and I was almost like comparing myself and thinking that I was behind. Please do not take that in any way for this video. Here's just everything that I've done so far and things that I may have done differently or things that I liked. Okay, so when you're watching this video, this is actually our like engagement anniversary. We did wait a couple weeks before announcing it to everyone, putting on social media, everything like that, and we did this for a few reasons. Number one, I never post in real time, so anything that I'm posting on my Instagram stories, on my TikTok, like, I'm not there anymore. So I know it looks like I just came back from Japan, but I've been home from Japan for a couple weeks. I never post until we're back. So with that being said, sharing the engagement, sharing our Europe trip where we got engaged, that was no different. It's just better for my safety, my own sanity. And then I also think that giving us a couple weeks to really just soak in the time together. And we did announce to like our closest friends and family, but we really didn't like share it on social media because I feel like you take a lot of time just like replying to comments and messages and everything like that, which is all so nice. But it's nice to be able to take that time and just like really absorb it for yourself before sharing it with the world. The next thing we did is our engagement party at Peacekeeper. We kept this very low key. We invited mostly our local friends who were able to come and celebrate with us. It was just like 2 hours at the second level of like the bar. Just very fun vibe. I highly recommend doing this because we actually, by the time we had the engagement party, we would have like, it would have been like, I think 17 months away from the actual wedding itself. So it gave us time to be able to celebrate the engagement. And then also because our wedding was so far away, we were able to kind of like celebrate then and then also be able to celebrate in the coming year. Okay, the next thing we did is creating our guest list. And I think creating the guest list is probably the next important thing when also determining your budget, because if you want to have like 300 people at your wedding, you're gonna need a larger budget, you know? But for us, I think our guest list was really like constantly changing depending on the relationship we had with people, depending on who would be able to come to Italy, all of these things. I will say that this was something that I probably struggled with the most because we had a lot of people that just had a lot of opinions about who we should invite to our wedding, whether these are family friends that I've never met before. And for a little bit of context, like my fiance and I have been together for 7 years. If I haven't met you in 7 years, which means my fiance hasn't seen you in 7 years, you know? So like, why do these people need to come to my wedding? We also had people who insisted on bringing a +1. So we kind of had a set rule of like, you either live together as a couple or you don't know anyone else at the wedding and you'd feel more comfortable bringing someone along. I think this was honestly one of the hardest parts because it was a little bit upsetting that people weren't respecting our boundaries. We wanted to have a more intimate wedding. It's not looking that way anymore. My best friend who was just planning her destination wedding earlier this year, she has it all on YouTube and it was gorgeous. So I'll leave it linked in the description box below for you guys. But I think one of the best advice that she kind of gave me and put things in perspective for me was that these people who are asking these things haven't planned a wedding. They have no idea how much it costs. They have no idea the work behind the wedding. They are just looking to bring an extra couple people to a party. And that kind of gave me a little bit more like perspective, I guess. I mean, it doesn't excuse their behavior because I think it's still really inconsiderate to ask the bride and groom that, but that did put things in perspective a little bit. The next thing we did is hiring a planner, and I have to say, if you are doing a destination wedding, this is 100% worth it. We did end up going to Lake Como for a couple days, but we would have never known the best locations, where you get the best view, where to stay, and be familiar with all of the vendors and who you trust, who you like working with, all of these things that my planner was able to provide us information with that we wouldn't have known. So I trust my planner a lot, and I think that's kind of what you have to do, especially when you're getting married in an area that's like not an area you're familiar with, you don't know too many other people who have gotten married there, and she speaks the language. So it's been really, really great having a planner. And yes, I still stress a lot about the wedding, but she does kind of keep me on a timeline of like, okay, like this month you're gonna do flowers, you're gonna figure out like what you want to do for this and that, and not feel like I'm behind or ahead of the game. The next thing we did this year was book our venue and our dates. If you are just starting wedding planning, the first thing you should be doing is looking for a venue. The venue is going to determine the date. I know some people are very particular about like what date they want to get married. We weren't. We really were like, okay, yeah, this weekend sounds good. So that's kind of what we did, and that was what was available. When we were choosing the venue that we did pick checked all of our boxes. We were looking for something that was a little bit more centrally located. We were looking for something with a view, you know, all of these things. And so I did feel like that checked all of the boxes, and we're really excited about it. The next thing we did is our bridesmaid proposal brunch. This was honestly one of my favorite things. If you actually watched that video, I forgot if I mentioned that we actually ended up doing like the backup plan because we got rained out. Who would have thought that there'd be rain in May in California? No one, literally no one. But we were supposed to do a picnic in San Francisco, and we ended up going to brunch at Sun and Gardens in Menlo Park, and we had so much fun. I had so much fun putting together all of the boxes too. If you do watch that video, that is not the norm. You do not need to be spending $900 plus on your bridesmaid proposal gifts. I think that for me, I'm in a very fortunate position where I do get gifted PR. I do get to work with some of my favorite brands. So what I wanted to do was incorporate some of my favorite brands and share it with them. Things that they wouldn't have normally been able to get, you know? So I had really fun time putting that together. I also love doing a little bit of DIY, and I kind of acknowledge that doing a destination wedding, I don't get to do too much DIY, so I thought that that was really fun to be able to DIY their boxes and do all of that. Speaking of bridesmaids, we also did bridesmaid dresses already. So I actually got all of my dresses from Revelry. I had my maid of honor and my future sister-in-law come to my house. We had all of the styles that Revelry offered pretty much, and we just tried on all of them. From there, we picked the color, we picked which styles. I do have 6 bridesmaids, and so we kind of picked like different styles that we thought each person would like. So for example, one of my bridesmaids, she loves like a halter neck and like backless. Like that's just so her. And so being able to like know kind of what styles they like and then ask like whether they like it or not. I did cover all of their bridesmaid dresses, and I know that this is probably a very unpopular opinion, especially on TikTok and YouTube Shorts apparently, but I think that covering your bridesmaid dresses is the bare minimum. If you are requiring your bridesmaids to show up wearing a certain outfit, a certain color to your wedding for your aesthetic, I do think that that's the bare minimum to cover, and I was more than happy to cover that, especially acknowledging how much money it's going to cost them to travel all the way to the wedding, if they're able to do so. The next thing we did were 2 engagement shoots. We did one in San Francisco City Hall, and then we did another one in Lake Como, where we are eventually getting married. So both of those were really fun. We actually had 2 separate photographers for that. Both we had an amazing time doing, and I feel like all the photos just look so good. It was so worth it. The next thing I did this year was pick 2 of my wedding dresses. So I got both of my dresses from Martina Liana. I have a ceremony dress, and then I am also going to change into a reception dress after everything, and I am so excited. I went to a couple bridal boutiques before going to Gem Bridal in Pleasanton here in the Bay Area, and I just really had the best experience with Jamie, and I like cannot recommend it enough. I know a lot of people have already gone to Jamie looking for their wedding dresses and had a great experience with them already. If you are shopping for wedding dresses, definitely recommend checking them out. I've gone to a couple other bridal boutiques, and they had a lot of the selections of styles that I was looking for. I also felt like the stylist recommended better options after I started trying on options. Like for example, I went to one bridal boutique and I was like, oh, I really like this style. And then from there, she pulled another dress that was very opposite from the style that I said I liked. I didn't feel like I was narrowing down to like what dress I actually wanted to get. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you are going wedding dress shopping, definitely go with an open mind. And the 2 dresses that I picked are definitely not exactly what I envisioned, but they are so nice, and I am very excited. The next thing we did is create a wedding website. I'm not gonna lie, I spent probably 6 weeks researching different wedding websites. I created different wedding websites from Zola, The Knot, Minted, like all of these like bigger well-known wedding websites. I created a website with them and played around with the tool just to see if I liked that style. And I felt like a lot of the templates were very basic, and I feel like, at least in my head, I kind of made it a bigger deal than it probably needed to be, but I wanted something that was going to set the tone of the wedding. And I didn't feel like any of those standardized templates really did that, so I ended up using Bliss and Bone. I do pay, I think, like $20 a month for Bliss and Bone. If you are not particular about your wedding website, I would skip it. I would go for a free option, especially because my friend told me, like, people do not read the wedding website. They will ask you the same damn questions that's already on your wedding website. They're gonna text you, what's the dress code, even though it's already on the website, all of these things. So if I were to do it again, I probably would have just gone with a free route. I wouldn't have overthinked it too much, given the fact that people will still ask you the same questions that are on your website. Okay, the next thing is save the dates and invites. So we actually intended on doing virtual save the dates at first. I was like, this is gonna be a lot easier for everyone, especially because I work in digital marketing. I very much like, yes, let's just send a virtual save the date. They have the link to the website, they have the link to add to the calendar, you know, whatever. Everything's in one place in their computer. So like, in my experience, I feel like that's the easiest thing you could do. We did send the virtual save the dates, and then I actually felt like I wanted a couple like paper copies just for like really close friends and family, and obviously for our own keepsake as well. So I ended up printing a couple save the dates at like local places like FedEx, Walmart, Target, you know, things like that. And I just like didn't feel like it was like amazing quality, and that was definitely money wasted because I do have some like shittily printed save the dates just like laying around somewhere, and we definitely wasted money there. However, I eventually worked with Minted to do our save the dates and then eventually do our invites, and they turned out so good. I'm obsessed with how they look. And for the invites, we did order a couple other things to like elevate the invite look, if that makes sense. So we did add vellum paper, we did hand tie like 60 bows on the invitation, and then we hand sewed the pearls on top of that. I will say, if I were to do this again, I would not do the pearl, because we had learned that because the pearl like sticks out of the envelope too much, it is not considered a letter, it's considered a package. So USPS charged, I think, like anywhere from $5 to $6 to mail each of the invitations. So if we were to do this again, I would not do the pearl. I think the pearl is a very nice detail, and I think if we were to do like the photographer like flat lay for the day of wedding, we would include the pearl. But given that a lot of people probably would just throw it away, I don't think that that part was worth it. The next thing we did is book our welcome party. I am so excited about this because we're trying to have a very guest-centric wedding weekend. We're doing a lot to kind of consider. People are already coming all the way here to Italy with us or for us, so we wanted to have a very guest-centric experience. The party, I haven't officially announced exactly what we're doing yet, but it's truly like a dream come true. Like, this was something that I kind of envisioned going into it, and I was like, oh, I would love to be able to do this. And I honestly thought it was gonna be like way out of the budget, so I didn't even consider it. I'm so excited for you guys to see after. And very quickly, the last couple things that we have done, these are the vendors that we have booked. We've booked our photographer, our videographer, our florist, our makeup artist, our music, and our catering. These are kind of like the big vendors. I think that everything else is gonna be pretty small, and it should, I'm trying to like brace myself, but it should be pretty easy from here. And then last but certainly not least, I think something that I would have done differently slash like lessons, and I'm still trying to like remind myself of this, but it's not going to be exactly how you envisioned in your head. And that took me a really long time, and still taking me a long time to kind of like grasp and understand, because for me, we're paying a lot of money for this weekend, and I want it to be exactly how I envisioned in my head, and like frankly, that's not realistic. You know, our welcome party, we wanted to have it in the evening. They don't have that available, so we have to do it during the day. I didn't exactly envision having 80 people at my wedding. I wanted to do fireworks, and then I realized it was a $10,000 minimum. There's all of these things that I've kind of envisioned in my head, and you slowly are like, oh, actually, that's not realistic. But that is okay. I know these are absolutely first world problems, but I do feel like being able to step back and still be like, okay, like this is gonna be a great day regardless, that's really all that matters. Okay, so this is everything we've done for the wedding this year. I hope this was helpful for you. I really wish people told me this like when we started wedding planning. It has been a very overwhelming and stressful process, but we have a couple more months, and I can't wait for the final day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll leave another video for you guys here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!